I have slowly been getting over the devastation today that after waking up, I learned that Kanye West had conceded the election. And yes, I'm in a better place having let that sink in. Florida State Seminoles live here for the 78th time. Jason Parker, NBC 6, Logan Robinson, Noel Game Day. And I believe we've got maybe a stranger headed in here. Yeah, James Coleman, fifth quarter college football, the full crew.
What's going on, man? I'm trying to get set up here.
All right, we'll let you get set, and we'll let Logan and Jason take on whatever they want to and start us out. We want to remind everyone to hit the like button, get your comments, your questions, your debate topics in that live chat so I can pass them along to these three. And then if I've got anything to say, which I do once in a while, I will chime in as well. And of course, we got the Pitt Panthers in town in Tallahassee on a Saturday. And if anybody out there has a sponsor, contact me at MarkRogersTV at Gmail.
Mark, I'm sorry that your vote for Kanye was wasted by him not carrying the state of Connecticut. That is truly a travesty.
I was hurt by that.
But let's also, before we get into talking about the illustrious, great 2-4 Florida State Seminoles, let's give a little shout out to Logan. I'm going to give Logan a chance. James, you missed it last week towards the end of our show. Logan and I did a little back and forth. His Steelers played my Ravens. I'm going to give him a chance to gloat because the Steelers won 28-24. They came back in the second half. And let's be honest, the Steelers haven't done anything in, 2 decades? So let's give him a chance to actually have this moment right here. The Ravens won a Super Bowl in 2012. I think the Steelers' last one was what?
08.
2008. Yes.
08.
A whole 3 seasons before you were. Or we can count them up like this. All time, it's 6-2?
Listen,
there you go.
Listen, he doesn't need you jumping on his bandwagon. You're not his hype man, okay? Let him have this moment here. Go ahead.
If you need some help, I'm here to help.
It's just sweaty in here. It's getting sweaty. No, I feel great. I'll tell you what, though. Sundays, they feel so good, but then the Mondays are even better. I mean, people complain about Mondays and they're tough, and I understand. I know, James, you're in Duval, so I understand it's kind of tough. I'll be in Duval, though, in a couple of weeks. And I'm starting to see these guys. But it just feels so nice. And, being a Baltimore Ravens fan, and there's some Bucks fans, and they had a tough game against the Giants. It just feels good. Obviously, those games always go into the fourth quarter no matter anyways, Jason. I know you're looking to see how close that game was, but we're at their house, too. We just got done beating actually an undefeated Titans the week before. The Ravens had a bye week. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling so good.
Now, are you just are the fact that you're stuck at 1 o'clock games? That means you're not a relevant team like those of us who play night games. Like we play the Patriots on Sunday Night Football, not this week, but next week. Like you're not really still a relevant team. You were about 10 years ago, 15 years ago. But how does it feel to be less relevant than the Dallas Cowboys, who are 1-12 right now?
Wait a minute, you're connecting relevancy to size of fan bases, and you're saying the Baltimore Ravens have a larger fan base than the Cowboys or the Steelers? Seriously?
No, I'm trying to rationalize the fact that my team blew a halftime lead, so I'm trying to work towards him. Sort of like his defense of Mike Norvell didn't really hold a lot of weight. Mine doesn't really hold a lot of weight when I make fun of his Steelers, so it's kind of just it's even there. So
I don't know about that, which we're going to discuss. I still want you had a week to kind of think about that comment. Obviously, a lot of the social media did not agree, but I want to see if anything changed.
I do actually want to give a shout out to the 8 people who sent me DMs using the N-word. That was great. My favorite was the one. Let me read it real quick. Hold on here.
Oh boy.
Not obviously going to say the word. It's not racist like some people, but I'm going to say it like it was. You don't know what the F you're talking about. Norvell has done more good things in 6 games than that N-word did in 21 games. That was an awesome one right there. And then there was another one who said, I'm sorry your family wasn't killed in the Holocaust. These are the fans who Logan instigated here with his stuff here. So this is what I got this week from Logan Robinson from Noel Game.
That's not right. Those are idiots.
A nasty thing.
To answer your question, do I take back the comment that's saying that Mike Norvell is not the guy, is not the answer? No, I don't. And in fact, this week has further stamped my opinion. That's my opinion. You have a different opinion. You're entitled to yours. Mark, you're entitled to yours. James is entitled to agree with me on mine. But no, he has not. He has not. And especially if we do lose to Pitt, which I'm sorry, we're a half-point favorite over Pitt. It's a coin flip game against Pitt. If he loses this game, I demand that he lose his job.
Ooh.
I mean, it's not going to because we can't afford to put another buyout. But
wait, did you just give me another clip? Did you just give me another clip?
If he loses to Pitt, will you really still defend him?
Clip that off, Logan. Let's roll that one this week. That's the one for this week. Unless he tops that, he's got like 50 minutes. So Jason's certainly capable of topping that.
Seriously, Logan, legitimately, if Florida State does lose to Pitt, and for the record, I don't think we will lose to Pitt, and we'll do our predictions later in the show, but I don't think we will lose to Pitt. Please, God, please listen to our prayers on this one. But if he does lose to Pitt, how can you possibly defend the Florida State program right now?
Well, go ahead, James. You go, James.
I'm saying that's a big, that's a maybe let him do the prediction first. You know, maybe he's got us losing the Pitt, and then he can break it down. But I mean, that's a big hypothetical, and there are things that I agree with what you said, Jason. But there's also understanding that comes with it. Like you can't. Is he the guy or is he not the guy? Is not really the question. It doesn't really matter. Like you can't fire a coach after 1 year. That's the problem we got in now. Like you've got to give a guy his opportunity to get all of his people in, and then you judge. Then you truly judge him accordingly. Now you can judge the entire way. You can say it stinks. If, you know that's a valid opinion, or whether you agree or disagree with it. But like you can't call for his head. And just like but also trip up FSU fans on this, because of the reasons, whatever excuses, COVID, spring, Mercury retrograde, PMS, whatever things we want to use to explain the season away. Those are the things that you do, but you can't go and say that we got to fire the defensive coordinator. It's either you're keeping the coaches or not. You're either giving excuses or not, because all of those same things should make the defense stink too. But to fire a guy who's over the program, like that doesn't do anything for recruiting. All it does is people already negative recruit us for being too quick to pull the trigger on people anyway. So to get rid of a guy, even if he goes defeated the rest of the year, you just chalk it up as COVID and whatever excuses that you want to make feel good about yourself. And then we go out and we try again next year. And we hopefully hit the portal really aggressively. And there's some things that can be done that I think Coach Norvell can do to help make him more fit and continue to grow with the job. But there's going to be a learning curve that comes with him because in reality, this is only his second stint as a head coach. It's a big job.
For the record, let me just, before Logan tries to get clickbait here, and let's be honest, you fans, you all fell for the clickbait. That's all Logan did there. He got you all.
You said it. That was no kind of good. You said it.
We appreciate the support there from Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Do I want Mike Norvell to go 2-9? Hell no. Do I want Mike Norvell to go 4-7? Hell no. I hope that this turns around. I hope that we win 4 of our last 5 games because there's no way in hell we're beating Clemson. Let's just be honest with ourselves right here on this one. I hope that we finish the year 6-5 in the regular season, heading into a potential bowl game. But do I think it's going to happen? No. Logan used the argument last week. He beat a top 5 team in North Carolina. And that's fine. I get it. He did beat a top 5 team, and he deserves credit for this. But he also lost to a Georgia Tech team that's 2-4. We got smoked by a Louisville team that's 2-4. You have to. I'm sorry. I'm going to use a player. He is what happens if Chris Ricks became a head coach. Yeah, he has that one great moment. He has those great plays where you're like, wow, that's awesome. And then he has 2 or 3 moments where it's, what the hell is going on here? What the hell is going on with this guy? And I know you know about that because there were those moments when you were on the field playing. I was on the sideline covering it where there's those moments where Chris Ricks was going. He would make a great play. We'd have a great game like against Notre Dame in 2003, and then we'd lose to Maryland in 2004. Then we'd lose to Louisville in the rain game in 2002. He doesn't. Mike Norvell's a great guy. I wish him nothing but the best. I just think he's in over his head at this point.
Before we continue the conversation, we want to get these super chats in so we can continue down the live chat and take the comments and questions. So, Florida State fans, just for the record, I'm counting 3 super chat contributions, 2 from a Clemson fan, 1 from a Miami fan. So that's what we've got right now. So BGPO Football Funk, he's a Clemson fan. So this, Logan, is for you. BG stands for black and gold, meaning Pittsburgh Steelers, and PO stands for Clemson, purple and orange.
I thought I saw
something
down there. I thought I saw our beautiful color rush uniforms down there. I want to whip those. Can we whip those out on Thanksgiving when we play the Ratbirds again at our house?
Go.
So Steelers and Clemson, so that's double evil. Got it. Okay.
Yes, double evil, but it's a contribution. Laughing at the Browns there. The Browns suck. Browns fans suck. Okay. That's never been stated before. And then finally, we've got Ronan. Ronan's a Miami fan. Again, our contribution coming from the Miami crowd. Ronan, thank you so much. Ronan is faithful in his support contributions. Ronan, thank you so much. Support Mark Rogers, not FSU. Go Canes.
But notice he's supporting Mark Rogers on the FSU cast. Does he also give money during
Absolutely.
He does? All right.
Ronan's here all the time.
Well, Ronan, thank you. Your rooting team, the team you root for sucks, but go ahead.
There's another one too, Mark. It's maybe a little bit down. This is a good one. Kissimmee, 47.
Another Canes fan. So that's 4 against FSU right now.
Why would I ever try to be Cam?
FSU commentators trying to be like Cam. Well, I don't necessarily think they either, number one, know who you're talking about, number 2, are trying to be like Cam.
Let me
Cam Underwood, the guy who dunks me when we're beating
Let me get a microphone. Let me get a microphone and yell into it real quick here.
Okay, it would be great, especially from Jason and James, to get your focused response to that. So, James, you first.
Why would I want to be a guy who wish he could have been me? Like, I could have went to Miami. Cam never had an opportunity to go to Miami. So I mean, that's the thing. He's good at what he does, and
let me write that down.
All praise to that. You know, it's cool, and he's a contributor. I love what he does for Mark Rogers, but you know, when it comes on as a contributor, but you know. Yeah, if you know, you can Google me, and I'm in Getty Images. I'm running over Hurricanes and scoring touchdowns on them. I don't think you can do the reverse of Cam. So I wouldn't trade my life. And this is no knock on Cam, but you just brought the comparisons. I just really would not trade. Of course, I would love to be Miami a few more times, but at the end of the day, I would not trade who I am. And the ESPN Classic games that you get an opportunity to see me playing at that for just being a journalist.
James, let's be honest. Our school's actually been relevant in the last decade. Their school,
like I said, the thing is, and everybody can't use that. Again, there's no as from a journalist standpoint. Cam is doing really. Cam is was it State of the U. They have great writers. They have good stuff. I'm going to be complimentary, but I'm just going to say, like, let's just
it has nothing to do with
relax.
Cam. There's just there, and you would be saying the same thing.
Like, I don't think Cam wants to be with Cam. Like, I mean, it's who want to be, you know, 6'1" on a good day, with great hair and a luxurious hairline, an amazing beard, beautiful kids, a nice large house. And I mean, and you know, we're grinding the gold. I mean, that sucks. But I don't know what Cam is. But anyway, just joking with that.
I have always held the opinion that I'm not better than anybody else. I'm not saying I'm better than anyone else, but I certainly only want to be me. I don't want to be like anybody else.
Cam did praise Popeyes that one show. Cam and I did have that praise for Popeyes. We share that unity, so I can't hate on Cam too much. We have that Popeyes. I like him more than Logan.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't blame you after last week. I should have never put that clip out. Is there I want to talk about this defense real quick. Let's get into and we've talked about Norvell like the last two shows.
Do we have to
I want to talk about the defense. I really do.
No.
I want to talk about the defense. We have to talk about this game, but we need to also talk about we're halfway well into the season. This is it. What have we learned? What's not working?
Everything.
Well, I'll tell you what. Here's what I want to see on Saturday for Pittsburgh. We know that Pittsburgh's running game is pitiful. Like it's like actually terrible. If Pittsburgh creates a running game against Florida State, which, looking back at games, about any team can find a way to do that. But I mean, this is a terrible running game team that is averaging maybe 2 yards a carry. If they're able to find some kind of success against Florida State's defense and against a linebacker group and whatever guys aren't in their right positions, or even guys like Mark Gainer aren't even on the field, that's fireable, because that's just pitiful. And that goes to coaching. But I also think you're missing tackles and such. But I mean, James will probably talk about it too. But man, if you're just missing tackles, I mean, don't you think during this whole bye week that you were just doing tackling drills all throughout the bye week? I mean, 31 missed tackles, and you could probably do half of those accounted for putting Louisville into a position to get points. I mean, there's got to be an upgrade. I want to see Asante Samuel Jr. on the best wide receiver one-on-one locked up for the rest of the season. We're looking at great stats coming from him. He is by far one of the top corners in the country. We've talked about that during the offseason. He has a dog mentality. He is a really good player, but then again, you don't see him put on Atwell at the beginning of the game, and Atwell's eating up Brownlee, who doesn't even have a lot of experience at all in the college football level covering guys, and you're putting them on an NFL talented wide receiver. Another fireable offense.
Well, let's give James a chance, because James wasn't here last week. So James, you saw what happened against Louisville. You saw the cluster on defense, the cluster mistakes on defense and whatnot. Is there anything positive that you can take out of that game if you're a Florida State fan going into this Pitt game, that this can get turned around? Because I'm sorry, we talked about this, and Logan and I agreed on this. That was the worst performance. I think that was the worst performance because it was against a bad team. Wherever it was.
I mean, each week you have to take something, like, it's a week-to-week thing, but I think a lot gets put on the players, and there was a lot of missed tackles. But if you've got to work on tackling right now, this is week 8. You had 4 weeks. Excuse me. You had 6 weeks because they started back in like the third week of July with fall camp, and it went all the way through August.
This is week 9 coming. So yeah,
you've been like that. That's something that gets handled really early on. You're supposed to be scaling back at this point because you're only going to add for more injuries. Hitting is a mentality that is passed down by the person who's at the top, who's in control of it. So your defensive coordinator. When you go and you look at the defenses that are really, really good in the ACC or even in the SEC, their D coordinator is an intense individual. He's a guy who really goes out and gets into them. And it's not just a yelling thing. Anybody can yell, but it's a respect thing. I don't know if you can gain that respect now. They either do or they don't. And I think a lot of it had to do with there needed to be buy-in. These guys are still trying to learn each other. And you create buy-in by having early success. And the easiest way to have early success with a bunch of guys who don't know your defense is to be aggressive. Now, the North Carolina game where they had success, and the second half of the Jacksonville State game where they had success, when they came out aggressive. But what you saw was them go right back against Louisville to a sit back, and against an RPO, that's the worst thing that you can do. Now, the good thing is, like Logan brought up, Pitt, which has historically been really, really good on the ground, isn't very good at the ground. And you still have more talent in your secondary than not, because you have guys that just haven't played very well. You have to make them do what they're not good at. and take away the run, obviously, and still make them try to beat you with their arm. You may have a chance. But the logo still holds weight in the fact that everybody comes against Florida State and just seems to be able to have their best game. What the Louisville quarterback was able to accomplish in the first half is hard to do on air. I think he had one incompletion. Like, that's just hard to do when you're doing walkthroughs. So they've got to the players have got to believe, because you have no choice but believe. You could try to continue to buck the system, but at the end of the day, you got to make the play. And I think that's where you see the missed tackles, Logan. So you see guys be able to get through, but you don't see swarming, which is what all good defenses do. The reason why you don't see swarming is contrary to what some very great Noles who are amazing defensive minds have suggested. They're not in great alignment. They're not in great positions to be successful. I can only say that as a guy who played offense, who tried to attack defenses. One of the touchdowns, and I think another fullback, Freddie Stevenson, broke it down, where you literally had the linebacker, defensive end, I believe it was Joshua Kando, lined up in a head-up position on the defensive end, and the linebacker was lined up inside of him. There was nobody on the outside for contain, outside of the safety, which would have been Woodby, to the wide side of the field. So you have no protection. You're literally giving up the stretch off rip. So Kano did try to fight and get outside leverage, but really they could have just ran wide outside of them. Bottom line is they still scored no matter what. They got up. They were able to accomplish the stretch. Then is it Tutu out or Juju?
Tutu.
Receiver from Tutu. Somehow you've watched film all the way up to this point, and he's torched you for this game. And you decide that you want to have Travis J locked up on him, but 15 yards off the ball at safety. Like, that's not a player situation. That is clearly being outcoached and outmanned. And that's not to, again, it's no disrespect. It's just what it is. You literally did not put your players in the best position because you let an explosive wide receiver be able to get a two-way go on a kid with a full head of steam. There ain't nobody. There's very few players who can actually beat that. So those are the things that I want to be able to see is really a more aggressive defense. And there's no way to know that until 4 p.m. on Saturday. And hopefully they've learned their lesson.
James, can you just real quick help us out here? Where's Tutu Atwell from?
He's from the Miami area, right?
Yeah, he's from Miami. Who didn't recruit him? Oh, that's right. Jimbo and Willie, neither one of them recruited. Right. So here, I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna give Logan this is Logan's congratulations present for his Steelers figuring out a way to finally beat the Ravens. Willie Taggart made a mistake in not recruiting Tutu Atwell. See,
wow.
I can make criticisms of Willie Taggart. You happy?
I am. I criticized Jimbo and I criticized Norvell in our last episode.
See, by the way, James, that was Tutu. Juju is the overrated wide receiver for the Steelers. That's
I need
that
him to be
was
good.
pivotal.
I
that
need
was
him to
pivotal
be good.
and a win on Sunday. You're spitting silly things right now. You need to stop.
So, considering your quarterback situation right now, would you guys be interested in the guy that John Sarian is offering up? That's Garrett Schrader, Mississippi State. He's in the transfer portal. Last year, played 10 games, completed 58% of his passes, 8 TDs, 5 picks. He was the top 250 player, according to 247 Sports, 7th-rated dual-threat quarterback.
I think I speak for both these guns when I say quarterback's the least of our problems right now. Jordan Travis is getting better. I mean, he's playing better. If he truly was able to get healthy over this week, he's getting better. You've got Tate and Chuba, who are both coming in, both freshmen. And then what's the kid's name from Mississippi? The recruit we got?
Altwire.
If he does stick with this commitment, quarterback's the least of our concerns. If Schrader can play offensive line, that'd be great. If Schrader can play linebacker or maybe defensive tackle, that'd be great. If we can just beat him up and maybe play those positions, it'd be super. But quarterback, we're fine. We're straight.
Quarterback's fine right now. I do think defenses are starting to figure out the offense and being able to contain Jordan Travis. I do think, though, Jordan Travis has been hurt since North Carolina. And like Norvell said in press conferences this whole week, that the bye week really helped him health-wise, and it'll be interesting. This is going to be a big game, I think, for Jordan Travis and moving forward. Will we see the future with Chuba Purdy come in, or is it going to continue to be an offense under Jordan Travis? I think Florida State has two really talented running backs that have a good combo. I think Corbin still is, but I think it's an 8 and 9 show moving forward. And Jordan Travis is a third running back, but there's no passing attack. Defenses can take care of the offense any day of the week if you're not able to have any kind of threat throwing the ball. And that was the case at Louisville. They could not figure out a way to get the ball down the field. I know there's guys making drops, and, Tamarion Terry wasn't going to save that game because there's so many explosive plays you can do going down the field. You just got to find a way to throw the ball, and that's just not the case right now. So I think Saturday is going to be a big pivotal game for Jordan Travis. If they can't find anything offensively, then and Jordan Travis can't throw, I think you might start looking at leaning towards a Chuba Purdy wave moving forward for the rest of the season, because I think he can throw. We saw little tidbits of it. It's week end of the game, blah blah blah. But we know we've had film on him in high school, and he was on target with the majority of his throws. And I just think defenses are starting to figure out a way to contain Jordan Travis, which is a huge threat for Florida State's offense.
Logan, what do you think we can expect to see from Tamarion Terry? He's missed the last couple games after having surgery. What can Florida State fans expect to see from him this week? Do you think they're going to kind of bring him in like slower, or do you think it's just one of these things where we're in a position where we need him to be the old Tamarion Terry?
I don't really know. I don't have anything. I know that he's been, obviously the staff has been saying that he's been practicing. I didn't think that the surgery was going to make him cost a lot of time off the field. A lot of people were expecting maybe he just goes to the league or whatever the plan was there. But I think he wants to put some more film on for scouts, and I think he wants to play. I just don't know if he even is going to play this Saturday and what the majority would be for him. I doubt it would be a lot, though. There's guys that can make plays at wide receiver, having drops like that, and you got a guy like Helton who has a phenomenal game against North Carolina and hits a whole 180. I think the game was shot in their heads going in the second half. Definitely wide receivers had a terrible, probably the most certain their worst game of the season. So I don't know. We'll see what Terry is. Probably we'll hear more. Probably game time decision, honestly.
Here's what I was saying is what needs to happen in this game. When you see the games that we did have success in, or the things that FSU fans get excited about, Notre Dame obviously early on in North Carolina, it's when you had 2/3 of the three games of the three things that break up a football game be successful. You had the special teams woke up. Defense got a turnover against Notre Dame. They woke up, played well against North Carolina, and then the offense came along. When you don't have, you can't win a game if you're not at least winning 2 of those 3 battles. Now, when I look at what happened with Louisville, all you have to do is, if you watch the game and then you looked at the stat sheet tells you that they completely went away from the game plan. 12.2, 8.9, I believe, and 6.2. That was the yards per carry from the 3 running backs. And that's not including Jordan Travis's. When you're having that kind of success, you don't go away from it. Now, granted, you wanted to be able to try to be in a shootout, but your defense isn't stopping anything. So what you have to do is at least play game management to at least get out of there, run the clock. But trying to continue to beat a dead horse and trying to throw when he's obviously not doing a very good job of that is insanity. Something that I've been complaining about and something that's really caught me off guard about Coach Norvell. He's an X's and O's guy from what we saw in Memphis. He's a guy who's touted to be able to find the weaknesses and exploit that. And we just haven't. And when you look at what I tell people route combinations, you'll see a lot of situations where there's 2 wide receivers literally in the same area. And it shouldn't happen that often. There should be spacing. When you look at what Miami was able to do to Florida State's defense, it required spacing and individual matchups. What Louisville was able to do, what North Carolina did in the second half. When you look at competent offenses, they're spreading the defense out they're slicing them apart, and their quarterback is able to make those decisions. And these things have not happened. When I look at, go back and people bring up the Chuba Purdy and the drop that Keyshawn Hilton had, go back and look at the tape. There's literally 3 defenders around him, not because they all figured out he was going to get the ball. It was because there was another guy within 2 yards of him. So you're allowing multiple defenders to literally shut down guys. Or really, one guy could do that. And I'm not sure if anybody else has had an opportunity to catch a ball when a defender's bearing down on you. But eventually, you keep getting hit. You're human. That's what they teach you. Punch somebody in the mouth so many times to where they can remember it. So I'm not excusing it. You got to catch it. But some of the drops come from there's just literally the spacing and the route concepts just don't make sense. And when you have guys like Tim Terry, guys like Keyshawn Hilton, Jordan Young, Warren Thompson, when he decides to catch the ball, and bigger than that, Cam McDonald, who's been pretty good at tight end, you're not utilizing the entire football field. And I get cutting down the football field for a quarterback that doesn't understand all your offense. But what you're doing is you're literally becoming a defender for the defense. Like, you're helping the defense out. And the only reason Jordan Travis should be playing is to make all 11 defenders have to be accountable. And if you're taking that away, you're not helping your cause. So I mean, you've got to your strength is 8 and 9 at running back, and you've got to figure out how to get your tight end involved, and you've got to figure out how to use your athletes, because the offensive line is actually playing way better than what I thought they were going to play. The scariest thing though about this is you're playing a Pitt team that has 35 sacks on the season. I believe they're ranked number 1 in the nation, and that's with one of their better defenders sitting out. So if you can't figure it out, that's why I really don't have much faith, because eventually the offensive line is going to have to crap the bed. They're not going to – if they play up to that level all year the way they've been playing, then, this is a disservice to Alex Atkins, and he needs to go get a better job ASAP, because he can't work in that kind of environment. He's doing his job and earning his check. Everybody else isn't.
You know what else we've been complaining about a lot here, James? People not hitting the like button. Right, Logan?
That is true. We have been getting very irritated with that. I'm just kidding. We're not getting mad at you too much. But we are at 22 likes with almost 50 people watching. Definitely hit the like button so then more people, mainly hopefully we get some more FSU fans in here to come hang out with us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. to preview games. We've got only a few left. We've only got a few left, but we got some good ones to preview. So come on here. We recap games. We talk about them. We give our analysis, thoughts. We argue. We make fun of each other. There's just no better place to be on Wednesday nights at 6 p.m. So smash that like button. If you're on your phone, just go down a little bit and hit the like button. Even if Jason's eating. Wow. A lot of comments, though, said that they don't want to see Jason eating. They said that it's not professional. So that's what they're saying. Any comment back on that, Jason?
Well, it's not professional, but we have to constantly move everything, our days that we do this. Logan's got beer league softball, kickball, singles night at Gordo's or something. I don't know what's going on in Logan's life, but we always move things for Logan, but that's okay.
It's been one move, Jason. Only one move.
That was a heck of a sales job by Logan, though.
Well, he brings it. He's gotten better. I'm actually going to give Logan credit. He's gotten a lot better with those sales pitches.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, guys. I've been trying. I actually go through them. Oh, I have some breaking news. Hold up. I actually have some breaking news here. Let's see. Let's see.
Actual football news?
UCF has declared victory in the 2020 presidential election. Holy crap.
That's bold. That's bold because I heard Ohio State was going to sue to stop vote counting. So that's why.
That might be it. That might be it.
We might need to do that.
Shocker.
What happens first? We have a president-elect or Florida State plays Virginia on the football field, which is November 28th. Which happens?
Or Florida State wins a game.
Ooh.
That's tough. That's a tough one.
You hate hearing that. Yeah, no, it's not going to be fun. Florida State facing that defensive line on Saturday. That's where I think it's going to be tough. I mean, I was talking about Jordan Travis earlier, and I don't know. It's going to be hard to judge moving forward for him facing a team like this that is going to bring pressures, or pressure is one of the best in the country, if not the best. And they just seem to be playing on the Aaron Donald level right now, like he's back there. It's just not going to be easy. I do think the offensive line is progressing, but this is just not really a fair matchup here. So they're going to want to get Jordan Travis out of the pocket. I would guess that he is probably going to be close to your leading rusher, man. I think they're going to try to utilize him, get him out early, so he doesn't have to deal with that. I don't think there's going to be a lot of throwing, in my opinion. He's just not going to have enough time to sit there. So
now, on the flip side of the ball, though, Florida State may actually catch a little break because Kenny Pickett, Pitt's quarterback at the start of the season, he's missed the last couple games with an injury. From what I'm seeing in reports, he still has not practiced with the team yet this week. Probably won't be a go against Florida State unless something changes in the last 2 days before they head down to Tallahassee. What can Florida State – now, this is a Pitt team who started off 3-0, lost scores. They've lost their last 4 games, lost 2 by 1 point, but their last game they got smoked by Notre Dame. Got smoked 45-3 by Notre Dame. What is this Pitt offense that we're going to see, Logan? What will Florida State's defense have to compete against come Saturday?
Is Kenny Pickett playing?
I don't think we have. I don't have a really solid update. We don't really have a
shout out real quick to John for spelling Mazel Tov correctly.
Yeah, look at that. John gave
the people
Logan a Mazel Tov.
The people are learning.
Look at that. Offensively, I mean, we kind of touched on it a little bit ago, but I really don't care if Pittsburgh. I'll be honest. I don't care if Pittsburgh's averaging 2 yards a carry right now because of Florida State's defense. I mean, it sucks to say it that way, but we got to look at numbers. We go back at past games and box scores. I mean, and Florida State's one of the worst teams in tackling right now. So I still think Pittsburgh might have some kind of solidified running game, which is tough. I want to see the defensive line show up. If they can get after their backup quarterback, this should be a nice competitive game and go in Florida State's in favor defensively, because Pittsburgh's offense isn't fantastic whatsoever. It's not phenomenal. And it's kind of just going to be two uglies going at it, ugly versus ugly. In order for Florida State defensively to get it, it's got to be tackling. It's got to be tackling and eliminating. If you eliminate fully that run game, that should pretty much do it for you. It's just they're not phenomenal running, throwing the ball. They don't take any kind of crazy shots at you. So yeah, just eliminating the running game, that should do it for them. But the other side of the ball is a different story.
There's some kind of late night bar joke there somewhere. Ugly versus ugly. But anyway, Pittsburgh Sports Now, as of 2 days ago, says Kenny Pickett still not running on an injured ankle. Joey Yellen again expected to start for Pitt.
First of all, Logan, that was a whole joke from Charles Barkley. He said that like 3 years ago on College Game Day, so calm down.
Oh, yeah, that was him.
He was talking about Florida State. It was like 2 ugly girls. That's what he said.
Oh, nice.
Well done. You used it well. James, what do you think about that? Florida State's defense, we've maligned them, we've attacked them and whatnot. This could be a chance against an offense that's reeling in Pittsburgh. What does Florida State's defense need to do in this game to get back on that right foot, especially with games coming up against NC State and Clemson?
Well, the 4 guys who have, at least before the season, had the best odds of getting drafted have to play like NFL caliber players, and that's your 4 starting defensive linemen. And you mix in Corey Durden, and Robert Cooper. If those guys actually play like ball players, then it really affects everybody else. It makes your linebacker core better, and then you get pressure on the quarterback. Even if it's just denting the pocket, like as what Logan was talking about, to stop a running game, it's really not about, like, your ends can apply pressure and possibly disrupt the running game, but really it comes from when you push the guards, the center and 2 guards into the backfield. And that's something that just hasn't happened. It's been shocking. Like there is no excuse or rhyme or reason for these guys to not be successful. It's like they forgot how to play football. It's like they're filming a version of Space Jam with football players, and the Monstars came in and stole their talent, and they're just a shell of football players going out on the field, and it's just weird. But if those guys, coached by the most senior coach at Florida State, know that, hey, if they can actually play to close to their level of ability, then you should see Florida State be able to have success. But the constant theme for the last three coaches has been buy-in, and I don't understand this generation in the word buy-in because it sounds very pacified punkish. Like you at the end of the day, you either gonna buy in, like, okay, I'm not gonna buy in because I don't like you, so I'm gonna get beat by 80. Like what? Like to me, it doesn't make any sense. So it's not a lack of talent, but there is a extreme, and I wouldn't even say it's a lack of heart. It's a lack of mental stability because they've got to be insane. But if those guys go out there and play, it all starts with the D line because they're the most talented. Asante Samuels, unfortunately, I can't even say how good he is because he hasn't had a chance the last couple of games to prove how good he is. Why throw it to that side when the other side's wide ass open? It's very simple.
He's having the Darby effect. Like whenever he was there, Darby, we'd forget that he even played a game.
I thought he was hurt
because nobody was going after him.
I thought he was hurt. I forgot he was there.
Yeah,
I was like, man, okay.
They weren't going at. What was interesting is they were not going to the outside. Louisville wasn't. They tried to stay inside, which worked phenomenally for them. They were not going after Asante or a Dent on the outside banks of the field. They were working on the inside. So we didn't really get to see a lot of Asante do his work, you know.
Now, something that I did notice against North Carolina, the adjustment, something that for the life of me, I've yet to see Florida State do in 3 years, including this season, is adjust. Is 27 and 9? 9 is the kid from who's the kid from
FAU.
Jerry and Jones? Who's Jerry and Jones? What number is Jerry and Jones?
7.
9 is the kid from that.
9 is
7.
hurt, I believe. I believe Miko's hurt, so I think I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. But 27 and 7, if we can just figure out how to, like, I don't know, not play them, because they basically see wherever they're at, and they're like, okay, we call it the circle of the duck. They circle that, and then that's who we're gonna attack because they give up way too much, like for them to be Division I athletes. It just doesn't make sense. I don't think, again, it's like I'm confused if maybe it's the way they're teaching the technique, but it shouldn't. It's not supposed to look like that. You shouldn't get that burnt every play. It shouldn't be that wide open. It should never be that easy. Logan, I don't know what it looks like in practice or anything.
Logan, we had defensive backs play against Louisville. I thought we were just.
That's what the verdict is. That's what
really
the rumor is.
Because I saw Tutu literally running uncovered, so I just thought we just chose to just play like with 11, a front 11.
I think Florida State thought there was a timeout happening or whatever, and they thought it was kind of just a free play or something. Yeah, that's kind of what it was. So that's what they're saying. They haven't really heard from the ACC yet. I mean, the ACC refs, you can't trust them ever. So they blew the timeout as usual.
So I played a little word association, name association, James, with these two last week. Would love to get your thoughts on some of these guys. And if you don't have anything, just say pass and we'll move on. So we'll go through the defense. You give me a blurb on whatever comes to mind, how you're evaluating their play. Amari Gaynor.
Needs to be utilized more. Best linebacker you have.
Emmett Rice.
He's too old to be that sorry. He's getting better though.
Renardo Green.
Young.
You just talked about Asante. Stephen Dix Jr.
Like him. I think he has a chance to be a good one.
Jaden Lars Woodby.
Phenomenal person. I would love my son to be like him off the field.
Wow, we can read a lot into that. That dude was a 5-star. Everybody wanted him.
Sometimes it doesn't work out.
USC.
So was Matthew Thomas.
I don't
know. I wonder who recruited. All right, just go ahead.
I'm going to have to keep an eye out next time I watch Florida State.
I don't know what happened, man. But he is a phenomenal kid. He reminds me a lot of Myron. Awesome person. I'm probably going to solve world peace one day down the road. He's bigger than football. Football is not what it's going to end for him.
Okay.
You got
Raymond
a pretty
Woody.
girl. You got a pretty girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, this girl, amazing recruiter of talent when it comes to
Okay.
who he's going to pick.
I'll have to use the Google for that.
Google.
Very Jaden.
Google.
No,
We got Raymond Woody. Anything?
I think father and son, the bonding between fathers and sons is very important in the African American community. To have a dad that's a coach, I believe. I coach my son up on I-9, and I like him being really close to me. I can only imagine how Coach Woody feels without having a son, and they should reunite at FIU or FAU, wherever they're at.
Marvin Wilson.
Counted his money too early. For a guy as myself who is very socially active, I really wish he would stop being so socially active and focus on the field.
One more. Maybe we'll come back to some later next week. Travis J.
Young player. I thought I'd see more.
New King God. How's your boy Nate doing, Jason? All that preseason talking he was doing.
I think this is for me. I think this is
I
for
was going to
me.
say, what are we talking about here?
I literally had one intern one time named Nate. That's the only Nate I ever met.
Yeah, that's for
Nate Greer. Yeah, I didn't condone anything. I didn't condone his 80-2 Miami FSU score prediction. I didn't condone any of it. I wasn't near him when he did that.
Wait. They beat Miami 80-2.
Yeah, he's just being silly.
Do you drug test?
It was preseason.
That's fine. Do you drug test over at Noel Game Day?
I told him. Well, he said he doesn't really drink much. He is a bourbon guy, but he doesn't do any kind of the spliffs. I don't think so. Unless he's.
Does he live in Oregon? Because they just passed a really interesting law in Oregon.
They did.
Yeah, he might be living there now. He might move there. Yeah, that's probably why. But he's definitely quieted down on that. By the way, New God, thank you for checking in for us. I love the Miami fans checking in on us always. I really appreciate it.
Panama Jack says Woodby is guilty of poor coaching.
I can see that. But all right. Okay. Yeah.
He's about to talk. Oh.
I don't see enough. I don't like. Okay, yeah, it's poor coaching. Is all right. So like Emmett Rice is guilty of being. Some of it's him, but poor coaching. But one thing Emmett Rice has figured out is a couple of times a game he's going to go downhill and just knock somebody out. Like he's just going to go like whether it's spilling the blocker or doing other things like that, and it's just like okay, wow, it's refreshing to see that. I don't know if he's out of position, but like there's no good angles. There's no he's not like how the old school Rover play. Like he's not imposing his will. He's not in coverage. He looks lost. And yeah, that could be good bad coaching. And I would agree that these guys are really bad situations. But you typically can see players who are consistently put in bad situations make plays eventually. Like they just make a really good play. And like for example, people hate right now. They hate PK Sam right now, and I can't argue that. I'm not going to argue that. That's my teammate, and one of them is my coach. But PK made plays in spite of the poor offensive play calling during that time. You can see guys like Terry made plays all that shit outside of poor play calling. Guys can like rise to the occasion because at the end of the day, every offensive play is designed to score. Every defensive play is designed to stop an offense from scoring. If you win your individual one-on-one matchups, you should always have there should be success. And now you can be put in bad situations, but if you're individually whipping ass, it's going to eventually show up. Now, maybe it was the injury and maybe to the player. And again, this isn't trying to bring anything back because Mike Norvell is our coach, but sometimes you get what you ask for not buying in. You haven't bought in yet, and you thought the boogeyman was who was there for you, but you looked better before you had your injury. Now you're not buying into a new coaching staff, and you're looking worse. The difference is they're going to cash six-figure checks, and you're going to possibly be working at Winn-Dixie while you work on becoming the person who's going to find world peace. Like, you got to do what you have to do, and that's why I think I've been consistent with this since I've done your show, Mark. I don't understand buy-in. Guys who say they don't have buy-in. I don't understand that. Like, it makes no sense to me. But to be a 5-star, 4-star, and not be able to produce and not be able to rise to the occasion, we can talk about development and all that other stuff. But if you're a 4-star, 5-star, you should be able to show on any field. And that's tough for me because I really like that kid.
So if I follow the buy-in comment, and I would tend to agree with you if I follow it correctly, and by the way, I think Jason would prefer that some of those players that can't make the league would go work at Publix instead of Winn-Dixie. I think that's where
no, because Emmett Rice is from down here. I was just trying to think where there's a Winn-Dixie in Miami. I was trying to think off the top of my head.
I discovered Winn-Dixie on a couple spring breaks. That was the first time I ever knew about Winn-Dixie, going to Fort Lauderdale on spring break. Anyway, that was a long time ago. Where were we going on this? Buy-in. So I'm thinking buy-in doesn't matter or should not, because when somebody talks about buy-in, obviously I lived in the corporate world for the last 19 years. There was all this buy-in talk all the time. Basically, are you going to buy into whatever policy? Meaning, regardless of how much you disagree or whatever, that you're going to adhere to it and you're going to sell it to other people and create a positive vibe about that particular committee, project, policy, whatever it is. But if you're not buying in, if you're a Florida State football player, for example, and you're not buying in, it doesn't make sense to me, because you should be invested in your own career, regardless of what's going on around you, how much the coaches suck. Now, if you need to make a decision in an off season to get in the transfer portal and do something else, but for that particular, I used to tell my son this all the time. Oh, he hit like junior high, like rebellious stage, went from like straight A student to I'm not doing anything. And I would have to admit he got that from me. But anyway, he went through this, like, I'm going to show teachers, who's boss, and I'm not doing what they say, and this is stupid, and this isn't real life. And I would explain to him, you're not hurting that stupid teacher. They don't care. They make it's going to be easier for them to grade your paper. They're all wrong. Bye. That doesn't impact them. You're going to move on the next year. They continue with their life. You're not hurting them. So you better do this for you.
Great quote from this movie, Fences. My man came in there, asked Denzel, because people say this to James, why don't you like the coach or something like that? And I always ask him, Denzel came in, what laws does say I got to like you? Like, he's like, I forgot his name. Mr. Richards down there don't give me my money because he like me. He give it to me because he owe me. You got to worry about who do right by you, not about who likes you. So the thing is, Billy Sexton told I butchered that, but go look at it. It's on my page. Billy Sexton used to tell me every year, my job is to get 18 to 23-year-olds on the same page as me so that we can be on the same page as the coach and we can win games. I'm going to recruit you guys, and I like you guys. You're okay, but I love my wife, and my wife likes nice things. See, if I can't get you guys who I like to do what I need you to do, then I'm not going to be able to provide for the woman that I love. So I'm going to recruit as many of you guys that I like, and whoever does the job the right way is going to be who plays. So I think that's the real reality. You come to Florida State, you come because you know there was a 4 or 5 star recruited in front of you. There's a 4 and 5 star going to be recruited after you, and you have to do your job. Now, we kind of went away from that, and it could be because of the culture. But when you look at what Alabama does, you look at what Kirby does at Georgia, you look at what I'll even give a rival credit Miami's been doing. Now, they just can't do much with it, but they've been doing a good job recruiting. Ohio State does this. Clemson is doing this. The schools that are good set a standard, and they don't deviate from the standard. Standards over everything. Somehow, again, they don't make excuses. somehow in the last 4 to 5 years, Florida State, and you can see why there's been a decline. We've settled. We're okay with making excuses, and we don't bring in the best guys that fit our system. Like you bring in the best talent that fits your system. It's not just about flipping, getting our guys. And I don't care if they're like Clemson's model is perfect. They have basically 10 of each position or whatever it is, and it could be a 5-star, 4-star, 3-star. They offer, and if they're only taking 3 that year, it's the first 3 that commit. If it's 3 3-stars that commit, then they're taking the 3 3-stars and they're moving on from the 5-star. But we don't have a culture, another buzzword, of competition. See, when you know that there's a young, hungry person that's good enough to take your job, you know what you tend to do? You tend to buy in. You tend to do your job really, really well. But that's because, a lot of these guys talk about buying their mama a house and getting out of their situation. But it's really cool, and it's cool to stunt on social media. But it's harder to actually live your real life and do it. That's why I find it odd. Like, again, it just bothers me. It bothers me because I didn't need to buy in.
James, everything's going to be okay, all right? White Mike is going to come in and save us, all right? Everything's going to be fine. And for the record, for those of you who wrote on there the whole thing, let's just real quick. I stole that from James. Yes, I clearly stole that from James, and James took that from the show. Let's be honest. It's from an HBO show from 2002. Everyone calm down. Okay, it was from one of the greatest HBO shows ever. Let's all calm down. Set and roll.
I thought we weren't going to do that anymore.
I can't believe they got into your DMs like that, Jason. I never wanted that to happen.
Never. Why is one from Logan's Twitty?
Not from that. Not that ruthless. I thought the Miami fans went a little too far, saying they were gonna.
There's necessary casualties, Logan. When you got to go viral with a video, there's got to be some.
Everyone's
ramifications.
Everyone's a keyboard warrior, and it's just Florida State fans, Florida fans, Miami fans, Clemson fans. Everyone talks a lot of smack behind the keyboard, but nobody will say anything to your face.
So, Logan, I know you're connected a lot. You're a student, so that helps. And you guys do a really good job with No Game Day. I only know some of the things that sporadically come. Like, what is the vibe? Like, is it again? This is a bunch of non-reputables here. So I know what the reputables, right? And I know what people say in press conferences. And anytime you have to, why I use the word buy-in is because every damn interview we had from spring all the way to now has been able to take shots and say we buy in, we've been coached, we've been doing all these things. Is the vibe really what is being portrayed in the media? Or if this doesn't turn around and they do go defeated, could this turn into a mass exodus situation? And the things that all the fans think that they want, they're going to get, and then they're going to find out, can this guy really recruit and replace the people that they want him to get rid of?
The vibe from when they had a meeting, we were told they had a meeting. Someone told us that the veterans were the ones that put it together. We didn't have really much more information other than a lot of the youngers. It's pretty much a younger versus an older vibe right now. The olders aren't really feeling, and there's just not all the older guys, but more the veterans aren't really feeling the staff right now. And that's all a part of, they've been through 3 coaches, most of them been. So a lot of them aren't going to agree with everything right now. That's understandable. But now, obviously, I think 247 Sports put out a report today that the meeting happened, and then the veterans were interested with the bye week. They wanted to get another day off of practice or something along the lines of that. So that's been a whole Twitter conversation that I'm sure a lot of podcasts are going to talk about. I never got told any of that kind of stuff, but that's what 247 put out. And I think there's a lot of disconnect happening. And I think either way, I do think there's going to be a lot of guys transferring. I think there's guys that are on the team right now that have already pretty much made it in their mind that they're transferring. And I think there's a vibe to, that's what, you probably hear the same thing. I think there's numerous guys that already have that idea of wanting to get out of there. Some guys that are starting right now for Florida State, a good amount of guys defensively. And, that's just a terrible kind of thing to have mentally, and that kind of vibe to have whenever you're trying to face games. Whenever you want to try to face Clemson, at least try to compete with them. And definitely a game, even where Pittsburgh, where you've got to get a win. I think there's a lot of disconnect in the locker room right now. It's not my station to really talk about it too much, but there's just too much disconnect between the older guys and the younger guys. The younger guys, even Mike Norvell, look at the recruiting chat, the commitment chat. They're all in. We talk to them after the game. They say they tell us how the group chat went. There's still a guy that's a silent commit that is a very talented guy that is in that commitment group chat that has told us that he feels really solid with Mike Norvell. He believes in Mike Norvell, and that was after the Louisville loss. So it's a lot of the younger vibe, pro Norvell, I think, and then there's a good amount. There's a handful, if not more, that are not feeling the staff right now. That's usually what happens, I guess.
See, I'll admit my biggest concern though is not just for right now. Like, let's say we finish the season 4-7. Let's say that's our final record on the regular season is 4-7. You head into next year where we open the season with Notre Dame at home on that Sunday night game. We've got Miami, we've got Clemson, we've got Louisville, we've got North Carolina, we've got Florida, who looks like a decent team right now. We've got Walt Bell and UMass coming to town. We've got a schedule that's a killer schedule next year. Hey, don't mess with the Minutemen. This could set something up to where, and if Logan's is correct and players do, there's a mass exodus out of there, we could legitimately be in trouble. We just need to be honest with ourselves. And I guess Logan's going to sit here and say I'm Debbie Downer. I'm just being a realist on this one. We could legitimately be in trouble unless we turn things around at this point.
What does that mean? We could be in trouble. Are you in trouble now?
You got 85 players right now. The reality is this, and this is what I said in articles when coaches, every article I've written about coaches coming in, is that the first people you have to recruit are the guys who are returning. That's your biggest recruiting class. Mm-hmm. And you can say all the right things, but you got to make sure that these guys are really into you, because what could happen is if it's systemic and it's as toxic, and then the fan base is really, really rough, and for whatever reason these guys really listen and read what these people say, is that you're going to find yourself to be Kansas. Kansas is a cautionary tale for every fan base that, even though they never won anything, but it's something that can really happen, because you lose about 20 to 25 guys every year to attrition. Maybe let's say 20 guys who just, whether they go to the NFL or not. If you in turn lose another 15 to transfers, that's 50 guys. Kansas, I think, when the coach before Les Miles took over, I believe they had 40 people on scholarship. You can't replace that many people and win. And on top of it, like Jason said, Notre Dame is coming. They don't give a damn about COVID in no spring and what you got to go through. Then the year after that, LSU's coming. They don't give a damn about that. Hopefully LSU remains what they are now, because LSU looks a little weak, but their recruiting class is still number 4, and they still got some cats that are coming in and reloading. Everybody else is doing it. Nobody gives a damn about your excuses, and the top dogs are bullies. You're in a bully culture. Like if for the people who are listening, if you've ever been bullied, when you were getting bullied, did the bully tell you, oh man, you didn't have your lunch? If I take your lunch money, what are you going to eat? No, he took your damn lunch money and didn't give a damn what you ate. And that's why I tell people it's okay to recognize it's okay to set the standard. What's not okay is to not recognize, duck your head, and say this is what it is. We need all hands on deck. And I think, hopefully Coach Norvell will get, because I don't care. He needs to lose. 10 guys need to go. I'm with that. But we cut it to 5.
Oh yeah.
If we can cut it to 5 until we can get those to replace those guys that you need, because that's what he hasn't shown a propensity to do. And it's not all his fault. It's some of the media's fault. Every time a kid transfers, you say Florida State's been in contact with a damn offensive lineman, and it gives the fan base hope that we're going to get this offensive lineman, and it's just not the truth. Like anybody can get in, anybody can like or follow somebody. It doesn't mean you're in contact. But we're seeing recruiting. You can't strike out in 850 in your backyard. And I know some of the guys, one guy's committed, and I know a couple guys are leans, but you gotta get one. You gotta get 2 or 3 of those guys. You're not really creating you miss a great opportunity to get a kid from St. Thomas Aquinas to help build a pipeline, because that's the thing that everybody's saying is he doesn't have relationships, but you're not using these. So you got to use these relationships, got to utilize them, got to go into JUCO ranks, and somehow get to these transfers. But that's my fear. The reason why I asked Logan that question was just to see if you were hearing some of the things, because that's my fear is when this season is over, there is a mass exodus, and then now you're really behind the 8 ball, and you're really into some shit you're really into some stuff that you don't want to be in.
Mark, to answer your question, what you were saying when I said about that scenario, if Florida State, like I said, let's say they go 4-7, and let's say there is that mass exodus that Logan and James have been talking about. Where is my confidence that things are going to turn around when you've got Notre Dame, who right now, I mean, let's be honest, they could beat Clemson this week and be the top team in the ACC. I mean, they could.
Who did you say? Who?
Notre Dame could beat Clemson. Could beat Clemson this week and be the top team. This is the team Florida State would have to play. It's one thing if you're 5-6, lose a couple guys. But what I'm saying is, if you're 4-7, and then there's that mass exodus that Logan was describing, that's where there's that concern factor. That's where my concern factor is that you've reached the bottom. Speaking of reaching the bottom, it's time for our predictions, sponsored by Gordo's for your best Cuban food in Delaware.
You can't say that. You can't say that.
I have. I've been to the 2 Cuban restaurants in Tallahassee.
Are they paying? Are they paying? Mark, are they paying the show?
I have not received anything from them yet. Is that coming? Is that like a hard copy through the mail, or is that a Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal?
I will FedEx you some croquetas from there. Maybe a little pan con bistec. It's a steak sandwich.
I think you'd rather have the paper money.
Yeah,
or a check.
That's all that we accept here. That's what we get on the Nebraska show on Thursday nights.
Well,
we get a sponsor there.
You know what else you get?
I didn't even ask for a sponsor. I didn't even have a Nebraska show.
You know what else
you hear this, James? I had a dude show up. He sent me an email and said, if you do a Nebraska show, I'll get you a sponsor. Boom.
Boom.
Check was in the mail. Started doing a show. I didn't even have anybody to talk to.
Did you get a chance to talk about that Wisconsin game?
And that check came in the mail. A hard check with
that's what I like
number
about
of zeros.
Because Nebraska doesn't care how bad they suck. They're going to fill out the stadium. You know what they're going to do? Mediocrity, they're rewarded. They're going to give their coach. They're going to give their coach an extension for stinking.
Have you? Hold on. Have you been to Nebraska? Have you been to Omaha? There's nothing really else to do there.
It's cold. There's internet. There's internet and 3,000 cable channels.
It's like.
And did you say what I think you just said, Logan?
No. What did you say, Logan?
I said what? I said corn. Well, I said corn, but I think James heard a different. James heard a different one.
I heard a different. It was OR.
Oh boy.
Okay.
What are we saying now?
There is corn. There is corn. There is a lot of corn.
It does sound.
Oh,
like
I got that word.
But they probably do have that too. That helps entertain them. You know.
They probably do.
Out in the cornfields, a little fun out there can turn into some videos.
The other thing's universal. You don't need to, you got Wi-Fi, you're all set.
Logan,
That's right.
Logan, whatever you go to South Georgia and do, that's your own business. Whatever you're going to do on Friday night, have fun. Just be at the stadium by 4. That's all I'm saying.
All right. So who's winning? Who's winning this game Saturday at 4?
Yeah, let's get the predictions.
I'll go first. I'll go first because I'm going to be in the stands with the real fans, not the bougie people like Logan in the Champions Club.
I won't be there. I won't even be there.
What?
Yeah, I'm not with this package. It's a 3-game package. My dad is going to be there in my regular seats.
So let's recap. The man who's been called a fair weather fan, been attacked with racist, anti-Semitic slurs, is schlepping 7 hours north to watch his alma mater and then schlepping 7 hours back in a potential tropical storm to watch his team. And you, who lives 10 minutes away, can't buy a ticket.
I mean, I'll be honest. I'm gonna actually enjoy being home. I'm gonna enjoy. I do like being inside the stadium, but come on, I do like. It is what it is. I need a break.
That's fine. It's not
I need like this break.
Logan, it's not that we're mad. We're just disappointed.
That means I got a long night ahead. I get the rest during the day. So then Saturday night, it's full send, James and Jason.
Prediction time. Prediction time. I do legitimately think that Florida State, with Pitt's quarterback being out, I think Florida State can take advantage of that. I think Florida State can do just enough, and I know this is going to be horrible to say. I think Florida State can do just enough to beat a 3-4 Pittsburgh team. I can't believe I actually had to say those words. I'm going to say Florida State 27, Pitt 21.
27-21. I'm going to go Florida State 21, Pittsburgh 24.
Going with a Pitt victory.
I am going Pittsburgh. I see the stat sheet. I know they have 2 yards of rushing, but I think it's going to change. And, one thing about Florida State's defense is that they like to make average players put on Heisman highlight reels for them, which helps them. I don't know if they're getting paid to do it, but they like to show NFL scouts that Cummings, who's an average quarterback, look like he is like Patrick Mahomes out here, just dealing with that well all day long, and then their running backs look like Penn State's Saquon Barkley. So I'm just not too convinced on Florida State's defensive side of the ball, and offensively, I think they're just going to get after Jordan Travis, and if he can't throw, I would expect maybe a package here and there for Trevor Purdy to go in. I wouldn't be shocked if there maybe is a few things, because they got to find a way to throw if they get eaten up in the running game. If they get eaten up in the running game, they have to probably go Purdy route, unless they're able to. Yeah.
James, I apologize before we get to you real quick. To the viewers out there who like to send the hate messages, it's at Logan's Twitty. It's not at JPC333. I picked FSU this week. He's the hater this week, so just send it to Logan's way. All right, James, what do you got? Noles or Panthers?
Pitt. Florida State has not been able to score more than 3 offensive touchdowns in the game yet. So no matter how much improved we want to pretend the offense is, that's not something. And this is coming from a guy who hates Kendall Brown. I do believe if Asante gets an opportunity, he will probably try to score this time. But I do think I think Florida State could get 21, but I think Pitt is able to get 24 points some kind of way. Jordan Travis is good for that, what I call the James Blackman interception. Like, even when he's playing very, very well, he just does something okay, you just have to get that out of your system, I guess. And Trevor Purdy, I believe, can be good, but I think a lot of us are still not romanticizing the fact that we pulled him over Jeff Sims, and not looking at what is very damn hard to do. Though it's very difficult to throw 9 incompletions out the gate, no matter if you believe guys dropped it or not. Like, that's really hard to do.
Mark,
there's 5 people. Let me tell you this,
4 in a row.
So if 5 people drop it, what's the common denominator now? The common denominator is the person throwing it. So it's either what we used to say. Yeah, what we used to say is that he's throwing an uncatchable ball. Should have caught it, no excuse. But 9 incompletions is very difficult. Not very difficult to do. But I will say what I did like from him, and what gives me hope, is he did not do what Tate did. I don't think I've talked. I have never in my life seen that happen before. And if you do that against an FCS school, father's a big time coach, and I understand he needs to transfer. He needs to hit the portal. He'll never play for Florida State.
That was kind of a Constantino vibe there, and was really scary. I just looked at my data because that pick 6 happened right there. Jason, right in the Champions Club our way. And I just kind of looked at my dad and I was like,
Do you enjoy sitting with the bougie people up there or not? Because those of us are in the real seats in the stands.
that's where I usually sit, Jason. But this is a COVID year. I love being in the stands.
Don't worry,
I love being this close to somebody, almost having my leg like over my leg. Like it's just.
Hey, I'll sit there for the spring game. I'll spend the money for the spring game and go sit in the Champions Club. That's fine. I'll be bougie for 3 hours. Mark, can you do me a favor before we go? Can you put up James's Twitter account, Logan's Twitter account, just so the fans can see it real quick? Can you put up the supers real quick?
Jason wants me to get attacked.
I would have to take those. I certainly want everybody following James, Logan, and you as well.
No. I
don't have everybody's Twitter handles.
I want them both to feel the venom that I felt this past week.
Oh, okay, that's what you want.
I'm not saying anything silly. I'm not saying really anything silly like you did.
Sorry, it's called an opinion. Opinions.
So
everyone has one.
No, that had nothing to do with an opinion. That was name calling.
No, they didn't like the fact that I said that he was not ready for the job.
No. You said he's just not the answer.
No, he's not. I stand by that statement. He's not the answer.
I don't think that's why you caught all that ire. I don't think that had anything to do with it. I don't know. I might be wrong.
No, you're right. We do.
I stated my opinion. My opinion was people are too sensitive on social media. It wouldn't bother me, didn't bother me, but I knew it was going to get a big reaction.
Well,
and so as long as you're good with that.
You've got people of Logan's age who are too young to remember the greatest show on HBO history, The Wire. So that's number one.
Yeah, I've never even heard of it.
Breaking Bad. The Breaking Bad.
Amazing show.
I live in a different.
I get it, but actually, then again, your work schedule would.
Well, that too. Yeah, for the first time in my life.
It is on demand all the entire time. So that's number one. Number two, we do have a decent amount of fans in our fan base. Let's just be honest. We're all grown folks here. We're a little bit racist, and that's fine. And to be honest, they didn't like Willie because he's black. We've talked about.
Wait a minute. Are you? And you might be right, Jason. I really don't want to take this anywhere, but I'm going to take this anyway. Do you happen to know that the Florida State fan base is more racist than other fan bases? No. Obviously, there are racists in every fan base.
Hold on. I have heard Miami fans call Randy Shannon the N-word when they were losing to Virginia in 2007. I've heard Willie Taggart call the N-word by fans in the stands. No, I'm not saying that all fans are racist. I'm not saying everyone who thought Willie Taggart was racist.
I'm pretty sure if you heard that in the stands, that person is getting getting beat the living shit out of them. I feel like someone's getting socked. Like I would like to do that. Like that'd be fun.
Hold on, I did hear it in the Champions Club. That's where it was coming from.
Oh man. All right.
We got to get Jason.
We're not only in overtime at this point, we're in double overtime.
We're in complete letdown mode here. We're in
triple OT. We have to go for two.
James, that's what we're doing. James, you got any connects for me in Duval? Like, what do I need to do when I get there? Because the game's at 1:00 in a few weeks. Do I need to get what kind of food?
What
my uncle lives there. Probably like 10ish. But probably some after the game, maybe.
Yeah, after the game, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. You like fried chicken and macaroni and cheese and collard greens and stuff like that?
Yeah.
You need to go to Soul Food Bistro, man. On the west side. That's probably one of the best. One of the staple. Get you some peach cobbler too, all crust.
I love homemade. I used to go to Thomasville. I used to go to Thomasville, get some homemade country cooking.
Yeah, so that's basically what it is.
There was a place in Thomasville that used to do really
Market. It's Market, I think. Market's I think it's Market something. But yeah, that was a place I would go to. It's so good. I think it's still there.
Logan, if you ever come to Miami, a real city, we'll show you how to really do things like that.
A real city. Yeah. A real city.
If my Jamaican spot was open, I'd take you there. But they're still trying to figure out what's going on with COVID.
Real quick, we've made fun of the Florida State football team over the course of the to the Florida State football team, undefeated. Number one.
They're rolling.
We're a soccer school, Mark. Get used to it. We're a soccer school and a basketball school. No, get used to it.
So we're going to cancel our show?
No, we're going to talk soccer and basketball. Wait till we have the Leonard Hamilton hour here. It's going to be amazing.
Here. Yeah, it's not going to be here.
It's going to be amazing.
Unless you give me a sponsor. Then I may talk about anything.
It's going to be sponsored by Larry Hamilton.
I think I'm going to put this banner up for next week's show, and I'm not going to take it down until we get one. I'm not going to post anybody's comments. Nothing.
That's a good idea.
You know what? If
Do
one show, I'm with if one show could get Guthries to sponsor them out the gate, we should be. I mean, we got pretty good numbers.
Exactly.
Billboards in there. They're billboarding everything like that, just like that, man.
Why doesn't no game day sponsor us?
They got enough money.
We don't make enough. We don't make enough. We got to pay big.
Mark's
Show isn't.
Mark's desperate. I'm gonna send him a croquette this week. He'll be fine. He's desperate.
Am I really?
Well, we've been doing.
I don't know. The
this for
stock
almost a year and a
market
half.
was good to me today. So
Had a good
where was that?
There you go.
All right. Very good.
We're really we're talking.
Yeah, we're dying
craziness.
of slow death here.
Since Jason's thing about the Champions Club and that comment, it's
All right.
just
Well,
gone downhill.
you're listen. If you're comfortable being
All right.
bougie, that's
James,
I gotta eat
James,
before I
let me
do
know if
radio.
you want to run a raffle next week.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's do it. What day would it be? This what time?
No, this is what we do. This is what we do. Is people might as well listen to this. So we're going to run a raffle, and the winner gets a live stream with James and I. And obviously, you're only doing it because you get to talk to James. So you get to talk football with James for an extended period of time. So we're going to start a raffle here. So for anybody who's interested, they're going to send $5 to my Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal. And the winner gets what? What are we going to go? A half hour? How's that sound?
wait,
Half hour.
That means Logan and I get
And we need at least 10 entries.
Okay.
Right. So 10 entries, half hour. We get to ask me anything you want about FSU within reason. And I'll probably give you as real an answer as I possibly can.
Okay, we only have 50 people right now. I'm going to advertise this elsewhere.
Does that mean
And,
Logan?
and we will schedule the live stream at the person's convenience, James and myself. We'll figure out a time.
How about if we do it on a Wednesday at 6 o'clock so Logan and I can get a week off?
No.
If you want a week off, Jason,
No.
you can take a week off anytime you want.
Listen, Cal Ripken didn't take a week off. JT doesn't take a week off.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to go eat before I go do radio.
No.
All right, James, we'll pull that together. Yeah,
Do it,
Cheryl's reminding
James.
me that we're live in 30 minutes with SEC Live. So,
Oh God.
all right.
Dear God.
Appreciate it, everybody.
Yes, thank
Hey,
you.
wait,
All right.
Georgia, Florida talk.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Gross.
They're playing a meaningful game. What can I say?
World's
Got to
lar-
talk about it.
world's largest group of rednecks in one place at one time.
All right. See you later.